What would a NATO country that just bought F-35s want from Ukraine? Well, Poland now wants to trade its MiG-29s for something only Ukraine can give. Now, I'm not one to fawn over Soviet-era technology, but there is one fighter jet that catches my eye. The MiG-29 Fulcrum is a good-looking jet. Now, the MiG-29 has always lived in a strange space between legend and limitation. Western audiences tend to flatten Soviet aircraft into caricatures, either brutish monsters or rusting museum pieces. But the Fulcrum is neither. It was built for one job: win a knife fight in the sky, and for most of its service life, it did that job with the swagger of a street brawler who trained on broken concrete. Hey friends, Wes here, veteran, defense writer, and very bad Russian speaker because mudro zuchat protivnika. When the Soviets designed the MiG-29, they weren't dreaming about long-range strike missions or stealthy penetration. They simply wanted a point defense fighter that could scramble fast, climb like its hair was on fire, and outturn anything NATO sent its way. The airframe delivers exactly that. Even today, Ukrainian pilots joke that the MiG-29 doesn't take off so much as it leaps. The thrust-to-weight ratio is obscene for a fourth-generation jet, and the engines push the aircraft into the vertical like it's trying to punch a hole in the atmosphere. But the Fulcrum's agility is really what keeps it relevant long past its design expiration date. High angle of attack, maneuvering, brutal instantaneous turn performance, and a forgiving airframe give pilots a sense of control that borders on reckless confidence. Ukrainian aviators have wrung every possible ounce out of that agility, especially when trying to intercept cruise missiles or dodge Russian R-37 long-range shots fired from Su-35s lurking near Russia's border. And the jet has another advantage that isn't obvious from the glamour shots: its ruggedness. The Fulcrum was made for rough airfields, cracked pavement, questionable logistics, and maintenance schedules that would make a Western crew chief faint. Oh my stars. Ukraine has flown these jets out of improvised bases, highways, and airstrips that have taken artillery hits the night before. A modern F-16 would demand a full spa day before attempting this. The MiG-29 shrugs and asks for more fuel. But the avionics are the weak link. Soviet-era radar struggled with clutter, struggled with look-down performance, and struggled with anything that wasn't textbook clean. But Ukrainian engineers have patched around those shortcomings for years with Western navigation tools, improvised targeting solutions, and hard-won experience. But the jet was never meant to be a digital platform. For over 3 years now, Ukraine has served as the closest thing the modern world has to a defense laboratory. Every weapon system thrown into the fight either evolves, adapts, or ends up as metal scraps on Telegram. And now, one of Ukraine's neighbors, Poland, has decided it wants in on that evolutionary cycle in a way Moscow probably didn't see coming. Warsaw is negotiating to hand over more of its MiG-29 fighters to the Ukrainian Air Force. On the surface, this looks like a familiar, almost routine NATO support move, but it isn't. There's something new embedded in the deal, something symbolic and strategically clever. Poland doesn't want cash. Poland doesn't want mineral rights. What it wants is drone technology from Ukraine. Yep, a NATO member with a modernizing air force, one that's just received its first F-35, has decided that the smartest trade for its fading Soviet-era jets is the tech Ukraine built while fighting for survival under constant bombardment. If that doesn't tell you how far Ukrainian defense engineering has come since 2022, nothing will. The Polish general staff didn't bother sugarcoating it. Their MiG-29s are hitting the ceiling of their operational lives. These airframes rolled off Soviet production lines when Ronald Reagan was lecturing Gorbachev on tearing down these walls. You can only modernize a MiG so many times before physics taps you on the shoulder and says, enough. Poland already sent roughly a dozen of them to Ukraine early in the war. Now, those jets were a stopgap, useful for patrols, cruise missile interceptions, and dropping guided bombs on Russian positions, but they were never going to shape the future of the Polish Air Force. F-16s are taking over those tasks now, and the incoming F-35 fleet will finish the job. So Warsaw wants to clear out the old inventory, but not by dumping it. Instead, they want to turn this retirement into a long-term investment in a field where Ukraine is no longer the student. Ukraine is now the teacher. 3 years ago, Poland had no shortage of world-class defense partners. It bought HIMARS, it ordered Abrams, signed huge agreements with South Korea for F-850 jets and K-2 tanks, and struck deals with the US to overhaul all 48 of its F-16s. Poland's rearmament program is one of the most ambitious on the continent, but drones are the great equalizer in modern war, and Ukraine has become the undisputed king of drone adaptation. No NATO country has produced more battlefield-verified drone design, counter-drone systems, or electronic warfare improvisations in a shorter time frame. Ukraine's drone fleet evolved from hobby shop quadcopters into deep strike precision systems that hit refineries 1,500 kilometers inside Russia. Its operators turned FPVs into trench-clearing scalpels. Its engineers designed anti-EW navigation algorithms on the fly. Its air defenders built distributed kill webs that NATO planners are now studying with raised eyebrows. Poland wants a slice of that ecosystem. The two countries already signed an agreement this fall to expand joint research and training on drone warfare, but this new arrangement goes much further. Warsaw wants not just access, but co-development rights. They want to build the next wave of drone and missile technologies with Ukraine, not watch from the sidelines. Poland is placing a bet, one that the future of European defense hangs on. Unmanned systems that don't exist yet, but will. Ukraine wants fighters, any fighters, that can fill air patrol gaps until the F-16 fleet reaches full combat tempo and the Gripens and the Rafales start arriving in 2 to 3 years. MiG-29s may be old, but Ukraine's pilots know them. The infrastructure exists to maintain them, and they can immediately contribute to protecting cities from cruise missile strikes. And drones aside, Ukraine benefits from having Poland more deeply locked into long-term co-production agreements. Think about it like this: every new technical tie makes it harder for future European governments to drift into fatigue mode. When your industries depend on joint development with a country under attack, quiet disengagement becomes politically impossible. Ukraine understands something else too. The moment it begins exporting drone technology to NATO states, its role in European defense architecture becomes permanent. And not as a client, as a partner. Russia dreamed of turning Ukraine into a vassal state. Instead, Ukraine is becoming the arsenal and software lab for Europe's drone future. Poland understands all of this. They know exactly what they're handing over. A fighter that still climbs like a homesick angel, still turns tighter than it has any right to, and still hits targets when used creatively. They also know the limits. The airframes are aging, the maintenance hours per flight keep creeping higher every year. The cockpit ergonomics belong to a museum exhibit on the Soviet interpretation of pilot comfort. Yet, none of that changes the essential truth. In Ukrainian hands, the MiG-29 is a survivor. A platform that refuses to go quietly because the people flying it refuse to go quietly. And until Ukraine's F-16 fleet matures and disperses across hardened bases, the Fulcrum remains the stopgap that fills the most dangerous hours between nightfall and dawn. That's the paradox Poland is navigating. They're giving up an aircraft that doesn't fit their future, but still fits Ukraine's present. And while Western air forces slowly climb toward the 5th-generation world, Ukraine keeps proving that a 4th-generation jet with the right pilot and the right mission still has teeth. If you want to talk about symbolism, here it is. Poland is trading away the past's best dogfighter to buy into the future's best drone factory. The MiG-29 may be nearing the end of its life on NATO tarmacs, but on Ukrainian airfields, it isn't done yet. Not by a long shot. That makes this negotiation far more consequential than another batch of Soviet hand-me-downs. It's a recognition that the center of gravity in military innovation has shifted. It's sitting inside Ukrainian factories, basements, workshops, and hangars. And Poland doesn't intend to watch that momentum pass it by. Warsaw is trading the past for the future, a future designed in Kyiv. That's it for today, my friends. When you subscribe, it sends a message to the bigwigs over at YouTube HQ that human creators are still worth investing in, not AI. Hey, if you like robots, that's your thing, man. I'm not gonna judge you. I got some crazy stuff in my closet. All I'm saying is AI ain't got a mortgage to pay. More importantly, subscribing helps me push back on Russian disinformation, which, if you haven't noticed, is getting pretty bad out there. And one last thing, the eagle-eyed among you might have noticed that I'm wearing an oversized prop from Die Hard, which is obviously a Christmas movie.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
I wish I could tell you where I got this from in case you wanted one like it to wear this holiday. I couldn't find this sweatshirt online anywhere, so I made one myself. And remember, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. And with that, as always, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Crimea is Ukraine.